Good morning. It's Kathy Vick. I'm not coming to you as deeply awake in name, okay? Just in body. I am coming to you to let you know about the next project that I'm going to be doing online. The the group that I channel, or the groups that I channel, are helpful to have around for me and for others. The component of that had to go along with that was my experience with it, my personality structure, coping with it. And that's what began for me in writing in 2012 as Deeply Awake. And then I had a lot of changes occur, and you can read and see and listen all about them online, both free. But now some things have changed, and I understood that there was a 3-day period prior to the eclipse. The eclipse day was not to be counted, and then there were 3 more days. And yesterday I was puzzled because yesterday was a big one. We were busy. And although I was not thrilled about that, it was necessary. Every single thing we did was absolutely just perfectly timed and necessary, and with astoundingly good outcomes. So, at the end of the day, I began to realize what I needed to do, because the morning time of that 3rd day, it became more and more plain to me the hardest thing about this last lifetime of mine. You know, walking into a bookstore when I'm fully blazing with like my 12-strand DNA is lit up, and I'm a walking bonfire of spiritual reality. And I go into a bookstore to get a gig, and I encounter people who are nice to me, and they let me know with their speech that they can see I'm off my path, and what I need, really what I need to get right with my God and my life, and to be better is their work, their coursework. Ew. That's why I stayed away from the New Age community for all this time. I left that whole thing behind in '94. Didn't really want anything to do with it. I don't like hanging out with New Agey people. Want to know why? They're some of the most competitive people, but they compete on a whole different level, and I don't like it. So I stay away from people who are evolving, and I really super now, especially, stay far away from those who I can clearly see are lacking some basics, and they are making money hand over fist selling what they are saying is the only true and appropriate way to handle this God thing, this new evolving God thing. They have the answer because they went to school, in a brick and mortar school, for a year, and they're now the experts. These are the ones that push me away the hardest. Of course they're supposed to, because they're going to be ministering to people who are at that level of vibration, right? But they don't let me into the circle. They never really have, because I walk into a circle knowing I should be running it, and no one will give me that, because I'm what they perceive is a mess. Because you know why? Because I don't have money. That's my New Age community thus far. So yeah, I've stayed away. Ugh. Ugh. Icky poo. That's just a different flavor of Christianity. And yet, it's speaking my language? No. No. I'll be staying away from that. So I did that. And now it's different. Now I can hold my own. And now I know who and what I am and what I represent. So that's fine. It's right now, it's no longer, hey, you're hurting my ego. Can't you see how brilliant I am? No one sees me. Wasn't that my song? I couldn't see myself. How could I? And no one else could either. And it only took time for me to actually know myself. And then everything changed. And it's that change I want to discuss, because through this process, I thought a lot about lucid dreaming. Because it's a skill, and it's a skill that not everyone has. And a lot of people go to courses to learn. And that's fine. I'm not saying it's not cool to go to class. I think it's fun to go to school. I went to about 1 or 2 years of tarot in the 80s. And it's important to get your study. It's important to have a guru, in my opinion. But to be on a true guru path, you understand that everyone and everything is your guru, and you are never, ever done. You know why? Because you're on the guru path. It's proof. You don't know everything. It's a path of deep humility and respect. And that's why when I see people acting as a guru without that, I know that they're in it for different reasons, and that's fine. That's really cool, but that's who they're going to be attracting to, and that kind of energy. And I don't want to be around that. So there's this other path where you know that people have more understanding and peace and solidity and joy and knowledge than you. You can feel it coursing out of them, plus their lives just, it doesn't matter the circumstances of their lives, it's how they do their business. It's stunning. It's beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. This lucid dreaming is kind of like that. Okay, so you're able to get in your dream, wake up, and manipulate it. That's super great. But for me, I always figured, well, what's the point of that? Because I always could kind of do that. I mean, I knew I was generating it, right? And if it was something that was surprising, well, it was supposed to be surprising. There's a purpose behind the surprise. So I was always sort of that way with my dreams. And then through this process of awakening, I realized, well, wait a minute. What I'm really doing, because I don't dream anymore, I'm living lucidly. In a dream, isn't it just shocking? You can wake up and you can change everything. You can have what you want. Well, what happens when you can live lucidly? What happens then? So, yesterday morning, and then especially last night, I realized there were these nodes in my last life of love that would beam love, and that I knew somehow that I was okay. My grandpa, and then this fellow who I love, and these nodes helped me. They were very healing for me. 9/11, and but I was on the bed just sort of realizing how little there had been, or how little had been perceived, or how little love there was after I got done having to take off all of the restrictions and criticisms and fear. It was like, it's the one sensation that I had a few that were just really, I would rather not ever experience it again, and that was one of them. Realizing how starved I was because along with that pain of the, oh God, that hurts, was realizing that through all of that, all of those years, what Cryon said was true. If you can love, and I can, in an elevator, on a bench, while I'm paying for my groceries, in those moments, giving love, smiling, just lightening it up, seeing the sadness in someone's eyes and saying, hey, I see that you're sad. That changes people. The only thing that ever changed me was that. And I saw how little I gave, and I didn't like that. And I saw this last 5 years how the focus had to be here. It had to be here. To the exclusion of so many beautiful people's hearts. And I'm so sorry. Oh my. And then I realized, golly, you know what? I can still do that. I'm surrounded by people who I consider giants. The way that they live, the way that they express, the way that they love, the way that they see life, just who they are. There's something about them. Sometimes it's just a spark, and sometimes it's the whole enchilada. They are that congruent. Their insides match their outsides so completely that I just have to go, what? There are a lot of reasons why I'd want to sit down and talk to somebody. Well, I know I am not the only one who was sat on their bed and wept because they could feel from the top of their head to their toenails this acknowledgement of how important that kind of connection is and how little they've been giving it. I'm not the only one there either. So what can I do about it? I asked myself, what can I do about this? How can I take this pretty light of mine that I've let shine? How can I just go, poof? And I thought, well, wait a minute. There's a reason I named this site kathyvick.com and not Deeply Awake. There's a reason. I plan on having multiple books. And I got this particular web design because I thought I could put multiple books up. I mean, I have a whole collection of erotica, like blood play erotica I'd like to put up. That's highly spiritual and really keyed. Really, really hot. And I've got novels, and I got a lot of stuff. If you want to see it all, I've got Ascension Field Notes. I've got, why not have one place to go? Well, I named it kathyvick.com, so what you're going to be seeing now is a change from Deeply Awake to my next incarnation, which I'm going to be labeling or titling Lucid Living. And part of Lucid Living is going to be, I don't think, going to be coming and explaining things as me. Although I've gotten some feedback just recently that's really helpful. Seeing me swear and cry and everything like that, that ain't so bad, lady. So I don't know. I'm just going to leave that up to my own comfort level and what I hear from people if they want my editing. But they told me they want their own they want a channel. And okay, well, I don't know how to do that, but if we need to get a Living Lucid account or, Lucid Living account on the YouTube to do that, okay. But they want to do their own thing. I think that's awesome. Go for it. And I want to do my own thing. I'm cooking up the novel that is been coming to me, and when it's time, I won't be able to stop writing it. It's still forming, and in the meantime, this is forming. How do I spread this light? How do I make it shine real good? How do I make sure that other people know how magnificently they're doing and how helpful they are to everyone they come in contact with? How about talking to them? How about interviewing them? And how about posting those interviews? Baby, I got friends who own dispensaries, burlesque dancers, pole dancers, RNs, self-made millionaires, child prodigies, so many fascinating people, many under the age of 18. So I'm just going to share the stage a little bit, because I recognize what I'm walking around among. They might not. Not entirely. Did I? No, I did not. No, I did not. You know what helped me the most? Having my uniqueness and my beauty, my validity, seen by another and described. And then I began describing it to myself and to you. Look what happened. So I want to do it. So we're going to start next week. My friend Melissa is going to be my very first interviewee. And guess what I'm going to do? Answer me these questions 3. Air the other side, you'll see. 3 questions. Maybe one of them will be, what's your favorite color? Maybe one of them will be, what is it? The distance of the air distance of an unladen swallow? Well, would that be African or European? So I don't know. Answer me these questions 3. So that's what I'm going to name the series. But the whole thing's going to be under lucid living. I'm going from a passive state of being deeply awake to being active. Isn't that pretty? I think so. So I am going to be always writing a novel. But actively, it is like such a delicious slice of heaven. Woo! And I want to start before I get any surgery, and then I want to complete it as I'm recovering.
The oven is preheating.
Thank you. So that's the plan with that. There's time. And in the meantime, we're going to let this light shine. So next week will be the first interview. And I don't know if I'm going to have the editing equipment to even pause. So it may be rough at first, and I hope it's okay. But there's so many people I want to interview. And I love the idea of having a permission slip so I can say to someone who fascinates the heck out of me, hey, I think you're awesome. And I want to know if you'd be willing to have me interview you for my website, for this little channel I have. I see something in you that I think would be really helpful if other people could hear how it is you do this thing called life. Want to come along for that ride? I'm asking you too. You want to come along? I hope so. That's what we're going to see next. And I do want to say one last thing about Deeply Awake. Okay. There's been this play with my new natal chart. I had April 25th, and I knew that wasn't right, but it was like more right than April 24th and more right than April 27th. But it was pretty. Venus and the moon conjunct, and just so many pretties. So many pretties. And then I listened to a tape that said that it was April 28th, and thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. that kind of opens up the mix a little bit. So I've been doing some research, and it is freaky deaky. First of all, if I can choose, isn't it pretty? Isn't that stunning? Every single time that I've looked up, there's been an 11. It's very weird because the numbers run, now it's 2020, the numbers run in red in very large numbers up above to the left for me. Very bizarre. Very pretty. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, no. All right, well, I guess what I want to wind up is to let you know that, yeah, did I turn into a ball of light on the side of Lookout Mountain? Well, I think I made that pretty plain that didn't happen. It was super gentle. And this 3-day period, I don't know of anybody the last week who's had anything but surprising and weird and sort of disturbing sleep patterns, sort of inconvenient and bizarre. Again, I don't dream anymore very much. I get interruptions in my programming for things that cannot be delivered in daily life and have to be delivered. You need to know this now. Boom. And that's when I get my information in dream state, but I miss dreaming. And always wished I could dream lucidly and not really understanding I already was. So now we're just going to live lucidly. And go on. So the 28th, April 28th, I did the research. It's really, it's beyond question. It's just too freaky. There are some changes. Venus is different on the 28th, and there are other things that are aspected differently. So I need to do more research. But I checked the Mayan calendar. I checked the numbers, and it's beyond question. There's something very, very freaky going on there. And I think the 28th is appropriate. I think it's the most appropriate, given the galactic tone for that day. Those who want to look that up can. April 28th, 2012, at 3 a.m., born before sunrise. It's galactic tone. Just one clue out of many. It just feels best. It feels so good. Since I was a child, I always wanted a zodiac thingy when I started to learn about natal charts. Not childhood, later than that. My son's being goofy. He's being so cute. Twerk for me, baby. Oh, God. The 28th, the numbers were stunning, and it's feeling too good. And I'm realizing that, I was beginning to realize, looking at the natal chart, yeah, the 28th, there's some things that are different than the 24th, but I'm thinking maybe this is something I can manage better. Is it okay if I get to choose? Am I breaking the rules? You want to show me where the rule book is for this? I'm using intuition and a memory that is just like Swiss cheese. It doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling tone. So I'll walk around with all of this, but I'm going to be doing it smiling and talking to people. Finally, talking to people. Oh, I know what it was, the natal chart. Since I was just started learning about that, I always felt gypped because I didn't have a Merkaba. I didn't have a Merkaba. What the heck? The 24th, there's a grand trine, a grand earth trine. But then when I heard about the 28th, I thought, well, let me put that in and see what it looks like. There are 2 grand trines. One in earth and one in air. I have my Merkaba and galactic tone 13, and many things in that chart that speak to my last lifetime, which I am apparently recovered from. So it's weird, and it's okay. It's not the same effect that I used to have. I have a very, very heavy Saturn effect, and in my natal chart, just to end, I had Saturn and Jupiter conjunct at, I think, like 2 degrees. So they were really close. But I had a double Saturn effect due to synastry, and I had someone with a very afflicted chart with very, very heavy Saturnian influences, which are still there, but mine have loosened, and those who know astrology know what I'm talking about. And so I realized just today that for a lifetime, I would feel so bad because I'd get a really great idea, and then bam, I'd be slammed down. Really great idea, slammed down. It was never, I could never just go whee. Well, it's because those two were coupled, and Saturn was at the bottom. So the expansion would go, wah, and then, you're on my shoulders. Come down to earth. It's like that. So now I'm not feeling so bad about making statements about things that I know are going to happen that wind up not happening, because that happened a lot. So I really can tell you, yeah, I'm committed to doing this. So it's not something that is just going to fall flat. As far as writing a novel, you're not going to see that. So take it as read that that's going on. I will be publishing that separately, and it will not be online. That's a meal ticket, dear. There has to be 1 or 2. So the faster I can get that written, the better. You can take that to the bank. And soon enough, I will be. But for now, this will all be gratis. It's going to be so much fun. Oh, talk about networking. So I'm really excited, and I wanted to come to you as someone who is living lucidly, and who is going to be spreading cheer and making this real in the community, in my little weird community, and hopefully with Skype calls that I can capture with people who don't live in Denver, because there are a couple who don't live in Denver that I've noticed might be worth talking to. So there you go. I got my ticket in. You happy for me? I'm happy for me. When the February eclipses came, it was like a switch went boop and off. It was a null time. I mean, from the time it happened, from the day. I mean, Minky died. It was obviously there was something going on there. And now it's just so freaky. Every single day it's been like, would you care for a blessing? No, we don't mean one of those, not that you really enjoy your Milky Way. Do you want a full-on miraculous blessing now? Would that feel like it? All right, here you go. Every day. So, fear not, and be of good cheer. And soon enough, you'll get to meet others who are stepping into their realities in ways that are new, fresh, different, and really fulfilling, creative, perhaps unconventional. You're going to be seeing a lot of people from the sex positive community. You're going to be able to see it all. I'm going to interview dear friends who have changed my world simply by being who they are. Oh, I can't wait. So that's my gift. And now it's time to take care of my son. He's taking care of himself on his birthday because I'm taking care of this. But we're going to be we're going to be making orange rolls, and then allowing his daddy to come into our home. So we're going to make it nice and homey first. It's his birthday today. He's 17. Oh my. It's a big day. So I wanted to give this gift to you. It's a gift-giving day. And I hope that you're living lucidly. And if you're not, I hope that your hope is to live lucidly. And if that is your hope, well then Look no further. I don't practice it 100%. Nobody does, but I know some people who are practicing pretty high. Poets and jugglers and lots of people. And they're all going to get their time in the sun, right here, living large and living lucidly. So I haven't done the web research, but I'm sure that it's open and it'll be fine. So, namaste.